Ready to start the Michigan post-game press conference. We are joined by two student athletes in Jordan Hobbs and Greta Kampschrader, as well as head coach Kim Barnes-Arico. Just a reminder, we're doing 2 questions per person before we move on to the next. We'll start with a statement from head coach before we get to questions strictly for the student athletes at first. So, Coach Barnes-Arico, if you want to get things started.
Sure. Notre Dame's a really great team. We saw that today. I think they were able to jump on us right away. It took us a minute to get going. I think their pressure was great on the defensive end, and they were able to score on us. We gave up 32 points in the first quarter, kind of put us in a hole, and then we were battling back. The rest of the game was kind of even, but it wasn't a great start for us. So they have a great team. They were the #1 team in the country at some point, and they're playing exceptionally well right now, I think, and especially at home. So great job by them. Overall, I thought, we had an exceptional season, obviously led by these two seniors to my right, and it was a special season for us as well.
We can start with questions for Jordan and for Greta.
Aaron McMahon with the Ann Arbor News. I'm live. For the 2 players, can you just kind of go over what happened there in the first quarter and what was the difference?
It's kind of weird. I mean, where we were talking about that just a couple of minutes ago, it felt like we just weren't ourselves. We couldn't figure out how to get ourselves situated, especially defensively. I felt like we weren't really helping for each other and playing team defense. We were all kind of focused on our own players, so they were just getting easy buckets. But I think we needed to establish ourselves there a little bit better to start off the game.
Coming around.
Sam Gibson, Michigan Daily. Jordan and Greta, just what are you guys thinking right now? Where are your heads at?
Obviously a bummer, a tough way to end our careers as Michigan basketball players. But I think if you take that game away and just reflecting on the past season we've had, it's been a very special season. Nobody really thought we would be here. Nobody thought we'd be in the tournament. Nobody thought we would be a 5 seed going into the Big Ten tournament. So just to kind of reflect on the year, I mean, it was one that we'll never forget. It was really special, and getting to do it with this girl by my side was awesome. And then seeing the freshmen step up and the transfers step up, I mean, we really didn't know what to expect. So to have the results we did was awesome. So definitely something to cherish for sure.
Yeah, I think the one thought that's going through my head is just gratitude. I'm going to cry the whole time. I mean, the fact that Coach took a chance on me after I decommitted from Rice, and she didn't know what I was going to look like for 4 years, but she knew I was going to continue to get better. Just so grateful that she called me that day when I decommitted, and that I was able to come here and put the Michigan uniform on and learn from some of the best people that I've ever interacted with, whether it's the coaching staff or my teammates or just the people at Michigan. So I'm just so thankful for this experience, and Michigan is the best place on earth, and I will be an advocate for it till the day I die.
Jordan Klein, the Michigan Daily. Jordan, Greta, for either of you guys. What was your guys' mindset and message to your teammates after that first quarter to try and keep your heads up and get you guys back in this game?
We had seen, other teams, whether it's in the tournament or in the regular season. Even there was a Florida State earlier this year. They were down 19 in the first quarter. I mean, we've seen it before where teams can come back. So just, we've been in that position before. We were down and we came back. So just letting them know to not get discouraged, stay with it, chip away, get back into it. We always kind of give ourselves a goal, like let's get it to, let's cut it to this lead by this time in the game. So just to stick with it. You never know what can happen in these games, but obviously we couldn't chip away enough. And they're a good team. They were very consistent throughout the game. So yeah.
And was there anything in particular they were doing that made them hard to stop?
I would say our ball screen defense was tough. I mean, they were very good at playing out of that, whether it was getting downhill or hitting the roller or finding an open shooter. I feel like we struggled, me in particular, struggled to guard the ball screen defense. But and one-on-one defense, they're all very crafty players. That's what they want to do is go one-on-one. So we weren't really able to contain them very well.
Megan Smith, Hoops. How do you two feel that you've grown this year, not just as basketball players, you've both reached career highs in every category, but off the court as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think our leadership took strides this year. I think off the court we grew closer to each other than we thought we would. But just as people, I think our character grew and our resilience and perseverance through what we went through last year. I mean, there's just so much to take away that I can't even think through all of it right now because this year held so many great moments and so many great learning lessons throughout the games and the practices and everything in between. So, I mean, we'll cherish what we learned, and I think we'll be able to use a lot of it in our lives following.
For the both of you, you played alongside 3 very productive freshmen this year. Have you thought about what the future looks like with those 3?
Yeah, we were just talking about it in the hallway. I mean, it's up. They could do whatever they want. Like, I don't even know. Like, they could go to the Final Four. They will go to a Final Four, and they will go and win the Big Ten championship. Those 3 are incredibly special, and the experiences that they got this year will carry with them to the next 3, and they will be able to learn from this. And just they're so talented, and they taught Greta and I so much this year. So we're really grateful for them and how they showed up. And yeah, they will be a special group for the next 3 years to come.
Any further questions? Thanks so much, Greta. Thanks so much,
Thank you.
Jordan. And now we can start with questions for Coach Barnes-Arico. We can start right here.
Hi, Coach. As the players were alluding to, this is a special group of freshmen. And what do you take away? What do you think they take away from this game that's going to prep them for next year and beyond?
Yeah, I mean, I tried to grab each one of them in the locker room and try to spend a little bit of time with them before I came down. And I've tried to do that really with Mila all year long because she's so hard on herself. But can you imagine being a freshman point guard that has led our team to this point and having to play against, Olivia Miles and Hannah Hidalgo? That's a heavy load, and she puts so much of it on herself. And I've said to her many times, like, we have to go through this. As painful as it is, you have to go through this and understand what it takes. I mean, Olivia Olson, for us, had a chance to go home last week to watch her high school team win the state championship. And she's like, oh, my gosh, Coach, I was watching practice, and I felt like they were so slow and the pace was so slow. I said, yeah, that's 1 year here and how drastically it's changed. You just came from that not long ago to now being on the biggest stage of your life. So I think, they've embraced it. They've done extremely well with it. They have to have these experiences to learn from them. But they're so competitive, and you saw that tonight from all 3 of them. Sila, I was really proud of her because her voice and her leadership really shined tonight, and it really came out when we were in tough spots. And I think, Notre Dame really keyed on these 2. It was a really challenging matchup for us. This year we've been able to put Greta on the other team's post player, and Notre Dame didn't really have a back-to-the-basket post player, and from a defensive perspective, that she wasn't able to always do offensively what she is able to do against other teams' big post players. So they really keyed on them, and then you saw our freshmen really step up and take that load and handle that load, and Sila's presence was felt throughout the whole gym, and I was proud of the way that they handled themselves, and it's compliment to these guys who have shown them that leadership and that culture through the whole season. But yeah, they were amazing. They did a great job tonight.
And then the environment today was just fantastic. Are you hoping to get more games? Are we going to get to see a home and home maybe on the schedule?
The environment was great. I've been here in years past. It was really nice when we were here during COVID because I think we won and there were no fans in the stands. So I do recall that day. It's such a challenge in women's basketball. Someone asked me yesterday, do you prefer to have, the home court, or do you prefer for it to be opened up? And our game's growing, and I guess we'll see what the next few years are in terms of the NCAA tournament. It's so wonderful when you can host and have your fans like this, but it's so incredibly challenging for the opponent. who knows? You'd just love to face somebody on a neutral court in this type of environment. But moving forward, I actually think there is something in the works. I'm not even sure if it's on either one of our home courts. I think there's something in the works, where we would have an opportunity to play against each other again.
Sam Gibson, Michigan Daily. Coach Ivey just referenced that three-point defense was a big part of their game plan. How quickly did you notice that was something they were emphasizing, and just how did you talk about what made that so effective for them?
I think their personnel really made it effective. That's kind of what I was alluding to before. We're always able to pick on the other team's post player from a defensive perspective. It's in our game plan every time, and you guys have watched us all year. Like, we try to put them in screening actions. We try to pick on them. They didn't have really a post player. I mean, King was phenomenal tonight, and Westbelt is so experienced. And even when they did get stuck on anything, they switched. We had a lot of slips. I don't know if you guys saw the slips for layups. We hit a few of them. We missed about 75% of them. Here's the other thing with the young team. Our prep from winning that game the other night against a really great team to today was not as long as that youth needs. Like, we could have used a lot more reps. Okay, when they take this away, when they jump this, what are you seeing? How are you seeing these slips? What are your reads? And a lot of times we are our best when we have time to prepare. And we played a lot of minutes the other night, and we needed recovery. So our prep time wasn't as much as, I would have liked, but it is what it is. Welcome to the NCAA tournament. In the Big Ten tournament, we did a great job of it. But it's all about matchups. At this point, what are your matchups? And defensively, they really owned that matchup on us. It's a matchup that we really haven't faced all year long. We're the 5 guards. Tonight, they gave us a defensive 5-guard matchup as much as Westbelt is a 4. They gave us a defensive 5-guard matchup.
And then for on-ball defense, would you say that's the most intense pressure that you guys have faced on the ball this season?
We knew, Michigan State does a great job too, and we faced it there, but it's a little bit different. Hidalgo is one of the best in the game. She has the quickest hands of anybody I know, and she just wants the ball. So I feel like she gambles a little bit, but she's so quick and crafty that she gets away with her gambles. So you just needed to really be strong with the ball. I thought we got hit 2 times early, or the ball knocked out of our hands, I should say, 2 times early, and it was like, whoa, okay, we have to hold on to that ball because this is how the game's going to be played. So it took us a second to adjust to that, which, with our young kids moving forward, they'll be better at.
Kurt Rollo, Associated Press. Can you talk a little bit about what Notre Dame did at that start to make things difficult for you?
Yeah. We were a disorganized mess on defense, and I don't know what that was about. It was funny. One of my assistant coaches got me before I went in the locker room, and was just like, something's weird. The vibes are off. Something's weird. You might need to whew. But once again, we get back to people being in an environment and a moment they had never been in before. And they're so competitive, and they want. We have one player on our team, Jordan Hobbs, that really got any playing time in an NCAA tournament. Now you're going against, arguably the number 1 team in the country, a team that has a chance to win the national championship, led by 2 All-American guards and 2 experienced 4 and 5 players. And, Sonia Citron as the 5th of that matchup. So maybe it was the environment, maybe it was everything. You just hope as we're getting our feet wet that they don't extend that lead, and we weren't able to stop it. We were a mess defensively. I'm not sure why. I think because they could score like guards at every position, and then they sped us up. And you just hope that, okay, until we adjust offensively, can we hold them defensively? But we weren't really able to do that. We wanted to hold them under 16 points per quarter, and we did in every quarter but the first. So you just can't start that way against a great team on their home court and expect to come back.
Jordan Klein, Michigan Daily. Coach, what was the message to your team after that first quarter?
Yeah, we got to settle in. We got to chip away. And we did. We made a couple of runs, but we couldn't sustain. They were too good. We cut it, they'd go on another run. We cut it again, they go on another run. So just I mean, there was one timeout I called because I felt like we were starting to feel sorry for ourselves and we were starting to give up. And that's just things inside our program that are not acceptable. And we just needed to regroup, and we said, whatever the scoreboard says, we are going to go out here fighting. So pick your head back up and get your butt out there and play Michigan basketball, and let's continue to fight. And I thought we finished really strong, but there was a moment in there where we were really deflated, and that's a credit to Notre Dame. I mean, they were really good.
And obviously, you guys take some time, reflect on the season, process the loss. But how soon do you start looking towards next season, preparing to help this current group improve, and also look towards the transfer portal to supplement this current group?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's a lot of questions right there. Right after this game, so I'm just gonna get on a bus and take one last trip this season and ride home with our team and love up on them a little bit and just remind them how proud I am of them, and then we'll figure all the rest out tomorrow.
Time for one more question.
Megan Smith, Hoops. From that first game this season against South Carolina, your freshmen are scoring 20 points, and then game now in a tough environment. I mean, Olivia's scoring 20, Silas scoring 17. How proud of you are those two, especially of the freshman class, to be able to have these big performances on this big a stage?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty insane, and that's why I was trying to, encourage them, and they have to. Now they know they have a taste. They have a taste. I mean, I would, pin this up behind your pillow and, right next to your bed and look at it every day and have it be motivation for us next year, because they just got their feet wet on a really big stage and they really performed at a high level.
And then did you have any sort of message to Jordan and Greta after the game? I know you have a really close relationship with both of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. It's a tough one. I think, Jordan is so competitive. Like, I couldn't even give her a hug when I took her out because she's so enraged that we lost the game, that she just runs to the end, and I don't think it even hit her until she got into the locker room. I mean, you've heard the story all year long, like, in the changing of landscape in college athletics being what it is in the age of the transfer portal, when we were hit hard last year, she was the first call, and her parents were the first call, and they said, we want hard, like, let's go. We believe in this program, we believe in Michigan, we believe in you, and we're not going anywhere. And when you have leadership like that, and like Greta, who came to see me and said, Coach, I don't care what you need me to do, I will do anything I can to help this team be successful. Okay, Greta, you're going to have to guard Audie Crooks. Okay, Coach, you're going to have to guard Sienna Betts. Okay, Coach. And she's done that every single game this year and helped us. I don't know what our record is. I have no idea. But we won 20-plus games, I guess. So when you have two selfless people like they are as seniors inside your program, anything is achievable. And we saw that this year on a year where we didn't know what things were going to look like. So they're forever Michigan women, and they both hold a really special place in my heart.
Coach, thanks so much for the time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, guys.
Reminder that Hammond Communications posts recordings of these press conferences online to the NCAA Media Hub.